Hello, my name is Savannah Govoni and I'll be talking about smartphone usage in the classroom. Most who believe that smartphones should not be allowed in the classroom think that these devices are a distraction and that smartphones do not benefit students in regard to their education. As those who believe smartphones should be allowed and used in class believe that these devices create an efficient way to prepare students for a job in the real world. This also teaches responsibility with being able to know when to use their smartphone and when not to. These people also think that smartphones can be used to help students learn, along with other educational purposes. These people believe that students should be able to have their devices in case of an emergency. There are several reasons why students should be able to have their phone in class. Teachers can educate students about apps and websites that can be used to help students with their classes. There are also apps that can help students prepare for standardized testing. Smartphones can be used to get extra help and practice with using smartphones in class. It can prepare students for a real job. Lastly, students should be able to use their cell phones to contact their parents in event of an emergency. There are schools that have entirely banned smartphones from being on school property. New York City imposed a citywide ban of mobile phones in 2005. After a few months, though, most students and teachers did not pay attention to the ban. Children would bring their cell phones to school because parents wanted their child to be able to contact them if there was ever an emergency. Most teachers did not mind if students brought their phone with them to school as long as they were quiet and put away. Most teachers and faculty were frustrated with having to keep up with watching all the students and making sure that they weren't on their phones. After the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, most parents wanted to make sure their children had a phone on them at all times in case of a serious emergency because of the possibility of a school shooting. During the shooting, students were able to text and call their parents and call 911. If students did not have their phone in a situation like this, it would be traumatic and scary for parents and students, as they may not be able to talk to their parent or child for the last time. With smartphones, it would be cost-effective for the school district because so many Americans already have phones. With handy apps like the dictionary app, it could help students with English as well as the Google Translate app that can help students that are taking a foreign language class. The most popular app is called Kahoot. This app connects the students' smartphones to the teacher's smartboard. This engages students by competing in an educational trivia that has been made by the teacher. A reporter from the National Education Association named Edward Graham tells a story of a teacher named Ken Holla and how he incorporates smartphones into the class. Holla has been teaching for 5 years and has a mobile device-friendly classroom. He makes sure what students are doing is purely academic. Holla includes apps into his class that help students study for tests, stay organized, and learn more outside of class. Holla encourages his students to get the Remind 101 app. With this app, Holla can send out messages that notify students if homework is due or when tests are coming up. Holla also recommends the website polleverywhere.com, which is a website that tests students' knowledge on content that is being taught in class. With the website polleverywhere.com, teachers can evaluate themselves and their students. Teachers can set up questions on what is being taught in class with a page number. All of the students' answers are complied and created into a graph. With this graph, teachers can see if many students get a particular question wrong. Then the teacher can review specific material to the students again while also seeing if the students are grasping the material. This website can be very beneficial to teachers. The Washington Post acknowledged another teacher named Lorenz Neuwirth, who took a different take on how to incorporate smartphones into the classroom. Neuwirth made an app called Flipped, which monitors the amount of time his students spend on their smartphone during his class. Neuwirth keeps track of these times and it gets included in his students' final grades. This is a different way to use smartphones in the class, but this engages students in a new way and makes them not want to be on their phone. There are many opportunities for success with many apps on smartphones. There's an SAT app that has practice questions for students to study and get practice for the standardized tests like the SAT or ACT. This is very important as most students have a minimum ACT and SAT score they must obtain to get into college. With smartphones being allowed in class, teachers can notify students of opportunities of success like this app. This would in turn prepare students for the real world. If students have a better ACT or SAT score, they will have a better chance of getting into college. Also, students must become used to using their phone for the right purposes. Once students have a job in the real world, they must know how to use a phone appropriately. Teachers can help students by teaching them the appropriate ways to utilize their phones with the appropriate apps and websites. In conclusion, there are many advantages and benefits to students being allowed to use their smartphone in class. This gives students a possibility for success when they have a real-life job in the future. Students should be allowed to have their phones on them in case of an emergency situation to call their parents or emergency services. Students can learn about useful apps and websites to get help outside of school with teachers' assistance. These devices can also help students be more organized and get extra help with classes outside of class. Lastly, teachers can know whether or not their students are understanding material taught in class. And this is my works cited.